start to dig into how you fuel yourself. Is it giving you stable and sustained energy, or is it more like a spike followed by a crash? Hello, my friend, and welcome back to the Redefining Midlife podcast. I'm your host, Jo Clark. Today, we're talking about something that I hear about constantly from midlife women, and that's energy, or more specifically, the lack of it. Now, I'm sure that you've experienced those 3 p.m. slumps at some stage in your life. That's that whole dragging yourself through the day feeling. And the second or third coffee is something that you reach for, or an energy drink that promises the world, or maybe it's that chocolate bar or something sweet just to get you through. And underneath all of that, you may be wondering, why on earth am I so tired all the time? Now, it's something that I experienced a number of years ago until I made a few tweaks and changes. But before we dive in, I just want to say upfront something very important. The advice I'm sharing today is general advice, and for very good reason. The how and the why behind your low energy will always be individual and specific to you. Your hormones, your sleep, your stress levels, your nutrition, your workload, your stage of life, the demands, all of these things, they matter. And the combination of all of these things are going to look so different for every single one of us. But in saying that, there are also a lot of common patterns in midlife. So as you listen, don't think for a minute, "Oh, I've got to do all of this. It's another thing I've got to add to my list." Instead, just tailor it to your own experiences and needs and start to notice your own daily patterns. Get curious. Like, when are your energy highs and lows? Think about what triggers the dips and how are you currently managing these highs and lows? Are you pushing through the lows? Is caffeine your answer? Or are you someone who reaches for sugar snacks? Or do you just plain ignore what your body is asking for? And this episode is all about becoming more aware and then individualizing the ideas to suit you. So please, no guilt, no banning anything. And it's just more for you to make some small shifts that are going to support your body instead of fighting with it. So grab a pen and paper and let's start. So the first way we're going to talk about to boost your energy is one that's all about tuning in to what your body is actually telling you. Now, one of the biggest shifts in midlife is learning to listen to what your body is saying rather than ignoring it. Your body is talking to you all day long, but many of us were raised to ignore it or push through it, to keep going. To be seen as being lazy means that you've got to rest or do something. And of course, don't complain. So my suggestion is simply begin to notice how you're feeling and then do this without any judgment at all. So an example might be sleep, which is a huge one to take notice of. So many women in midlife have trouble sleeping well. Waking at 3 a.m., constant trips to the loo in the middle of the night sweats, racing thoughts, broken sleep. Or perhaps you're just lying there wide awake for hours when you just desperately need some sleep. Whatever the case might be for you, if you have that pattern, you will start the day feeling tired and already behind. And 1 or 2 nights from time to time is normal and your body adjusts. But if it's night after night, it compromises how you get through the following day, and it's going to start to impact your current and your future health outcomes. So sometimes you'll find that low energy will start the night before. So instead of asking, how am I going to power through today? Maybe a better question is, what small step could improve my sleep tonight? And there are some small tweaks that you could make, possibly. So think what it could be for you. Could you reduce screen time before bed? Could you create a simple wind down routine? Keep your bedroom cooler. Limit caffeine to an earlier hour in the day. Or maybe it's something as simple as getting outside for some morning light. Everyone's going to be different. For me, years of interrupted sleep from constant night sweats took its toll. And I made all of those small tweaks that I mentioned just before, but they did not make much of a difference at all for me. But again, for me, once I started hormone therapy, the night sweat stopped, and that meant my sleep improved dramatically. And it meant I had a lot more energy the following day. And so then that flowed on to all other areas of my life. Now, none of this needs to be complicated. It's just about becoming more attuned with your routines and your choices, as well as your own body's needs. So when you hit that dip in the afternoon, instead of judging yourself, ask, what is my body asking for right now? Rest, food, water, fresh air. That low energy you're feeling is information for you. Right, so let's move on to the second way. The second way is all about moving more and the concept of exercise snacking. Now, this one might surprise you. When you feel flat, your instinct might be just to sit down, and sometimes that's right. But sometimes the most powerful thing that you can also do is to move and move gently. I love the whole idea and concept of exercise snacking. So we're not talking about a full workout, a 1 hour gym session, or a 15-minute walk. It could be just small bursts of movement through the day. Maybe instead of a larger walk, you could narrow it down to 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe a few stretches between your meetings, a few squats while the kettle boils. Now, I try to do these sorts of things throughout the day, especially if I'm spending a lot of time behind the computer. I've even got a hula hoop in my office, and that is a sight for sore eyes, but it really gets the blood pumping. It wakes me up. These small snacks of movement actually stimulate your circulation. They wake up your nervous system, and it can shift your energy really quickly. And there's also some very solid science behind moving in the morning. So perhaps you could try adding some small little bite-sized exercise or movement into your morning routine. And we do know that morning light exposure and that gentle movement will help to regulate your circadian rhythm. And that rhythm plays a big role in how steady your energy is going to feel across the day. So if a 30-minute workout or walk doesn't work for you in the morning, maybe see if you can add a 5-minute exercise snack instead. Now, I know it's not always possible, but even 5 minutes matters. So we're not talking about intensity. It's just about adding a layer of that consistency and support. So if you can start seeing movement as a way to boost or fuel your energy and not as a form of punishment, that'd be great. So now the third way to improve your energy is to fuel yourself for stability and not those big spikes. So let's talk about caffeine and energy drinks. Coffee first thing, maybe no breakfast, another coffee mid-morning, maybe you have an energy drink mid-afternoon. All of these things promise productivity and performance, but often what they do create is a big spike and then a crash. Now, this isn't about banning coffee. Oh my God, I love my strong cup of coffee first thing in the morning, and I won't be giving that up at all. This is just more about awareness, and again, awareness for you. Become more of a detective and just start noticing how your body responds to different scenarios. Like what happens when you do skip breakfast? Or what happens when you add protein in the morning? What happens if you reduce caffeine after midday? What happens if you hydrate properly? Keep on drinking water throughout the day. Stable energy usually comes from stable blood sugar. So that means regular meals, adding good quality protein to your meals, adding healthy fats, having less processed foods and less sugar added to your meals and your drinks. We're not after perfection, although go for it if that's what you want. This is just more about working how your body best responds and then adding in that layer of consistency. There is no one size fits all. So pay attention to how your body best responds and do something with that information. Now, the fourth way is to boost your energy by reducing your mental load and asking for help. And when we're talking about energy, we have to remind ourselves that energy just isn't physical. There's that cognitive or mental energy, and there's also emotional energy. And as you're well aware, midlife women are often carrying enormous mental loads. Work, family, aging parents, children or grandchildren, household planning, everyone's schedules, everyone's needs. Decision fatigue is real. And every decision that you make might just drain a tiny bit of energy. And yet, we often don't ask for help or find ways that could stop that drain. So if you haven't already, think about how you can simplify this for your own personal needs. Like, could you perhaps delegate jobs to other family members? Ask for help instead of saying an automatic yes. Maybe you could create a simple meal plan for the week ahead. Maybe you could cook double and freeze the rest for future meals. Or decide the weekly menu on a Sunday so you're not deciding every single day. I mean, these are real small things, but they do reduce that mental strain. And delegating jobs or tasks, that isn't weakness at all. It's actually managing your energy. Right, let's move on to that fifth and final way to help boost your energy. And this one is all about resting without guilt. This might be the most important one for all of us, and yet it's often the hardest one for most of us. And I'll put up my hand and say that it's one that I still struggle with. Now, it's incredibly common that women will only rest when they're forced to, or when they're sick, or when they're burnt out, when they physically cannot continue. And in the Western culture, we also have a mindset that rest happens only when we go on a holiday, that we have to earn our rest in order to deserve it. But we need to change that long-held idea that also rest equals laziness. Now, in fact, rest is essential to our health and well-being, and it can look different depending on what may be going on in your life. Resting doesn't mean that you have to take a nap. Rest could be a 10-minute reset. Maybe it's just sitting in silence, lying down without scrolling, or going to bed earlier instead of pushing through another episode or to the next ad break. Maybe it could be just sitting down to read your book. Not every minute has to be filled with doing something that's productive or super productive. Now, rest just helps to boost your energy because it regulates your nervous system. It also supports hormones and it improves that emotional resilience. Life is too damn short to feel exhausted all the time. You're not meant to drag yourself through this season of life. So I'm going to ask you a few questions now, and I'd love you to notice what comes into your mind when you think about your own relationship with rest. So maybe you could even journal these. Are the thoughts that you have about rest negative or positive? Do you feel guilty when you rest? And if so, why? Do you have to meet your own self-imposed rules when you deserve, inverted commas, rest? Do you look for pockets of time to rest without guilt? Do you schedule or commit to regular times to rest during your day, week, month, or year? What's your favorite way to rest? And how does your body feel after a rest? Now, I hope that by answering those questions, it's going to help you to look at your own relationship with rest a little bit more. And maybe it can even help you to reframe the benefits of rest as a way to boost your energy. So let's just go through the 5 ways of how to boost your energy without resorting to caffeine or guilt again. So number 1, tune in to what your body is telling you. Number 2, try exercise snacking as a way to boost your energy. Number 3, start to dig into how you fuel yourself. Is it giving you stable and sustained energy, or is it more like a spike followed by a crash? Number 4 is all about finding ways to reduce your mental load and asking for help and support to lighten your load. And finally, number 5, begin exploring ways that you can rest without having feelings of guilt. Now, here are some final things that I want you to remember. Sometimes just one small change can create very different results. You don't need a complete overhaul, and you don't need to give up coffee. You don't need to join a boot camp. You don't need to be perfect. Just pick one little thing I talked about today, just one, and notice what shifts. And please, if your fatigue feels persistent, or it's unexplained, or it's extreme, get support, because there could be an underlying medical reason for your tiredness. So, see your doctor for advice and for some support. It might mean that you have to have your bloods checked more often. Maybe you need to rule out iron issues or thyroid changes or vitamin deficiencies. And also, maybe there are other support people that you can add to your wellness team. Perhaps you might need to consider a nutritionist to help you with how your body best is fueled. Or perhaps you could get a personal trainer or an exercise physiologist to help you create almost like a personalized movement plan just for you. Or maybe you need to book in for a sleep apnea test if that's relevant to you. Just remember, whatever change you might make, as I always advise, start small and listen closely, and just adjust whenever you need to. Life is too short to feel exhausted all the time. So I just hope you have a wonderful week filled with energy, and I look forward to being with you again next week. Take care. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, follow, and share it with another incredible midlife woman. And join me next week as we keep creating an amazing second half of life.